Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again. I have been off for a couple of days. I do apologize. Usually do a video the day after an event. Was supposed to be doing Summerslam 2015 yesterday. Unfortunately, I got really busy with some personal stuff, and I didn't get home until about the time of Monday Night Raw last night. So I will be doing SummerSlam today. I also will be doing Monday Night Raw immediately after I do this video. So it's going to be a little bit busy here. I'm going to submit some videos on YouTube. You guys are going to get some of my feedback on what my thoughts were on the pay-per-view, the Monday Night Raw episode. And later on this week, whenever I get a chance on the WWE Network to watch the NXT TakeOver from Brooklyn, because Saturday night I worked and then came home, wanted to go do some stuff and enjoy myself with my family, and I just got caught up and never got the opportunity to watch NXT Brooklyn. So I mean, I only got to watch half of it, so I'm going to finish up the rest of it later on in the next few days, and I'll have that submitted on YouTube by then of this week. So anyway. Also, some other side notes before we get into this. I'm going to do this pay-per-view review real quick because it wasn't all the biggest thing. There was a few big things here and there, but overall, it was just average Joe pay-per-view, a 4-hour event. So anyway, as a side note to this my channel, I am going to be doing UFC retro reviews from older pay-per-views that I can buy on DVD, watch them, and then review them on here to make up for some of the lack of views that I've gotten on these episodes that I have made up. I haven't been getting a lot of views on them, so I don't see the point in doing them anymore at this point in time until I start picking things up a bit more, or I start seeing that people are taking interest in those other episodes I've already uploaded before. So, until then, I will be doing UFC. I might even do some UFC news, so if you guys are into UFC, I will definitely go ahead and relay information on that as much as I possibly can. So every once in a while, once a week maybe, you'll see something about my interests or what I viewed on UFC news, and I will relay that to you guys and give you my input and thoughts on it. So, the first thing that we had going on here is the Randy Orton-Sheamus match. This match was absolutely fucking boring. I'll put this straight up to you guys. The first hour and 30 minutes was absolute shit. Except for one match. Okay? So, Sheamus, Randy Orton, garbage. 2.5 stars out of 5. Wasn't that big of a deal. Didn't give a flying fuck for it. Didn't even pay half attention to the fucking action that was going on in the ring. Sheamus walks away victorious, getting the freaking, to tie the series between the two in their pay-per-view events that they were having from July to now. Fucking ridiculous. The New Day won the tag team titles back. Big fucking whoop-de-doo. Match was awesome though. There was the one thing in the whole hour and 30 minutes that was worth watching. Except the ending was fucked up. Kofi Kingston tagged himself in on one of the Kalisto guys, and then they were laying inside the ring, and they knocked Titus O'Neil outside the ring, and he picked up the victory on the same guy he tagged. That don't make any fucking sense. Completely idiotic. Dumb as fucking shit. Couldn't not believe this lame load of garbage. Bullshit beyond bullshit. So, that was crap too. That match, I'd definitely give it a 3 out of 5 stars, only because the action was good, but the ending was absolute garbage. Didn't really make a whole lot of sense, wasn't logical, and pretty fucking dumb as shit. The next match after that was Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev. This match was very disappointing, probably the biggest disappointment on the whole card. I was very upset how they did this ending. Match was going pretty okay. I mean, it wasn't the greatest match in the world, but it was okay. It wasn't nothing to be, looked down upon or feel like you were wasting your time watching it. It was a decent match, but the ending sucked. Again, another shitty ending. Dolph Ziggler super kicked Rusev. He landed on the announce table, and Dolph Ziggler tried to crawl his way into the ring, couldn't, and it was a double countout. Big waste of time. Could have had a finish at least, and then continue with another match with these two guys, and instead they have a double countout, as if they're going to go ahead and basically say, well, that was Dolph Ziggler having the advantage, only we're not going to give him the official win anyway, and we'll just fuck him over later in the next pay-per-view that he has with Rusev. And that's more than likely what's going to happen. Then we had Stephen Amell and Neville versus Stardust and King Barrett. The match was okay. I can't say it was bad. And the match before that was a 2 out of 5 star match with Dolph and Rusev. And it was that because of the fact of the double countout. Stephen Amell did pretty decent for a guy who has no wrestling capabilities. Not known to be a wrestler. He must have been training pretty well for this matchup leading into the pay-per-view. Probably did it before he ever came on the show on top of it. So, I mean, he didn't do too bad. He was alright. But it wasn't even worth the time invested in this to even attract my attention. It didn't. It didn't attract my attention a whole lot. A few things he did in the match was interesting. Neville did everything possible to make this match entertaining. And Stardust was great. King Barrett, I could give 2 craps less about. I don't even care about him. Match ended with Neville hitting the red arrow on Wade Barrett, and picking up the victory 1-2-3. So, nice ending, okay action, 3 out of 5 stars I'll give it. A lot of too much tag team action going on in this pay-per-view. That's one thing I have to say that was a drawback on this show. I mean, there was just too much tag team matches. It was just ridiculous. And there was no tag team titles but one. And that was it. I mean, it was just kind of stupid. The next match from there was Ryback defending the Intercontinental Championship. This match was extremely short, 5 minutes long. Ryback picks up the victory, and the Big Show knocks out Miz by accident instead of hitting Ryback. And Big Show gets clotheslined out of the ring. Miz gets pinned 1-2-3 by Ryback. Ryback retains. Big deal. Okay, I give the match a 2 out of 5 stars just for effort, I guess. I don't know, that was shit. Then at that point, things started picking up a little bit better. I have to admit that. But 5 matches in a row, back to back, like I said, an hour and 30 minutes of wasted time, not needed. They didn't need any of this shit. But from that point on down, things were good and entertaining. That's when the show started picking up its energy, started having a good feeling like it was a pay-per-view, the way it should have been from the beginning. We had Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose defeating Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. Great match. Only issue I had with is Roman Reigns was laying outside the ring. The audience happened to throw out Roman Reigns is sleeping. I thought that was extremely funny. And then finally when they started chanting that, ironically he started getting up and going to the apron to tag himself in with Dean Ambrose and pick up the victory for his team after Ambrose hit the Dirty Deeds maneuver on Bray Wyatt. And Roman Reigns hit his spear on Bray Wyatt, and that was the end of the match. So, very, very entertaining stuff. Bray Wyatt did an excellent job in this. Luke Harper did as well. All 4 men, major props to them. 3.5 out of 5 stars. Decent match, well put together tag team match. If any tag team match should have been done, that was a good one. They're starting to develop this into a real good storyline now. Before it was just your average Joe reason to have a story. Now it's starting to look like a developing story. Month after month, they seem to be doing something a little bit different to it to make it a little bit more entertaining and a little bit more worth investing your time in to watch. So, I mean, it seems like they're trying to build both Roman Reigns and Ambrose simultaneously here by teaming them together, I guess. And maybe that's why they're doing it. Which I think is perfectly fine, and I think it's a very good thing for them to do. Because those two guys really have the talent to be as good as what they put Seth Rollins at. I mean, speaking of Seth Rollins, the next match from that point was the WWE World Heavyweight title and the US title on the line. Title for title, winner takes all match. I have to say this. Out of everything that went on, the action was great, but the most memorable thing that stuck out to me, and people probably say you're an idiot for saying this, but I don't really care, is Jon Stewart screwing John Cena over in this match. This was the most dumb thing I ever seen in my life, yet it was so funny. It comes down to the ring, referee's knocked out from John Cena having Seth Rollins in the attitude adjustment. He accidentally pulled him off the ropes because Seth Rollins had his hands on the ropes trying to hold himself from being tossed. And so John Cena was trying to pull him to get him to the middle, and Seth Rollins' foot hit the referee in the face by accident, knocked him unconscious. So there was nobody in the ring, no pinfall occurred, nothing could happen. John Cena couldn't win the World Heavyweight title for the 16th time, tying Ric Flair's record. Jon Stewart comes down to the ring, runs in, goes ahead. He's got a steel chair in the hand. He's acting like he's going to hit both of them. One minute he's going over to Seth Rollins. Next minute he's going to John Cena. Back and forth. And then finally he makes his decision to knock John Cena in the gut with the steel chair. And then put the chair underneath John Cena for Seth Rollins to hit the pedigree and get the 1, 2, 3. Awesome match. Awesome, entertaining shit. Ending was a little goofy, but still, overall, very entertaining and fun match. I will definitely be watching this later on in the next couple of weeks. I mean, this pay-per-view, just to go ahead and go a little off topic here, just going on the overall paper, it was fun. I gotta admit that, but the 3-hour event wasn't really, the 4-hour event wasn't exactly necessary to do. 3 hours would have been more suitable for this. They didn't have enough build-up storylines. As many people have said, the only reason why WrestleMania is worth 4 hours for that kind of stuff is because they build up from January all the way up to March or April for that pay-per-view. They didn't do anything but build up from July to August. That's not enough time to build up enough storylines within matches of 10 freaking matches to create a very good 4-hour show. It's just really not. When you have that kind of situation, the only thing you can do at that point is condense it so that you have more back-to-back meaningful events. And that's not what you have at this pay-per-view. Only until until after the 1 hour and 30 minutes has passed away from the pay-per-view. So, I mean, complete waste of time. It shouldn't have been done this way. But, hey, it's learn and change. Learn from the mistake and change it. Hopefully they don't do this next year for SummerSlam. I don't think it's worth doing that. It's too much time and work building up for those matches itself to have a decent 4-hour show. So 3 hours is more suitable than enough to build a good SummerSlam pay-per-view, in my personal opinion. But getting back to the matches, the match between Seth Rollins and John Cena was awesome. The match was a 5 out of 5 star match to me. I think it was probably one of the best matches on the card. Brock and Undertaker were a very good match, but this could have been suitable as the main event altogether. But again, like I said, the ending was kind of goofy. But then again, who really gives a shit? People don't care for John Cena being the 16-time World Heavyweight Champion. So immediately following that, we had the Divas match for the 3-team elimination match. This match was entertaining in some portions of it, and then there was portions of it that wasn't. The ending was stale. Becky Lynch picked up the victory for their team for PCB, and that was about it. The rest of it just... The beginning was great. Sasha Banks did not get enough ring time to perform in that ring. I think they could have done a whole lot more for her in that match. I feel that she was really robbed of the opportunity to display more skills in that match than she did. But then again, I mean, there's like 9 people in this matchup, so there's just so much time you can throw in, and somebody had to get eliminated first. So I guess they just felt like to go with the least talented group. Not saying that Sasha Banks is really untalented. It's just that her 2 other partners, I'm not too high on. I don't find Tatanka, or whatever the hell her name is. I think I just mentioned the guy from back in the old days, the Indian wrestler, or who the hell knows. But I don't like those 2 that she's with. But Sasha Banks by herself, awesome talent. Definitely could see her holding the title multiple times in the Divas division. Hopefully they change the name of the Divas title back to the Women's Championship. I like the NXT name for the Women's division better. The Women's title, not the fucking Divas title. It's like they're a bunch of people that are untalented wrestlers, which to me, in a sense, now the way WWE is in the women's division, that's the way they are. They're just untalented female wrestlers. But anyway, the match, I'd give it a 3 out of 5 stars for good effort, though, despite the fact of the limited time they used. I mean, they did have plenty of time, though. 15 minutes is a decent amount of time for a regular match. But, I mean, they had, like, 3 teams. This match maybe could have been stretched to 20 minutes, possibly, and shortened something else that was, a little bit longer than what it was. But no big deal. Match wasn't bad, though, overall. I mean, it had some boring spots, and it had a stale ending with Becky Lynch picking up the victory over Brie Bella, which I didn't particularly like the ending so much, but, you can't bitch and complain about every little tiny aspect of the show. I mean, at that point, it's just being downright just negative about the whole thing. And you might as well not even watch it, period. So we got, after that, before the main event, which was Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, of course, Kevin Owens versus Cesaro. These 2 guys may not have had the greatest match at SummerSlam, but it was still a good, well-performed match by these 2 guys. My only complaint about this match was way too many European uppercuts performed by Cesaro. I have never seen Cesaro perform so many European uppercuts in one match in his whole entire existence in WWE. So I really have never seen him do that before. It kind of diminished his wrestling capabilities in my mind, which I don't see him as an untalented wrestler whatsoever. I see him as definitely a high-rated talent that deserves more than what he's getting at this point in time. And definitely awesome match, though. Both guys worked very well together, and as they should. They both wrestled in Ring of Honor, and I believe in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, which is PWG, that takes place a lot of times. If you're not too familiar with the wrestling independent circuit, they have a lot of their events at a place in California, which they performed some pretty damn good matches. Some well-known names came out of that company, despite the fact of the lack of knowledge of the company and their existence and everyone and their popularity as such as a company. But those two guys actually wrestled in that company, and both of them actually became the World Heavyweight Champion within the independent wrestling circuit. So to see these two guys actually wrestle each other in a big venue like WWE is pretty awesome. Not to mention they have wrestled in ROH before in the past, I believe in tag team matches, because at that time Cesaro was a tag team partner in a team. So I mean, it was definitely when they were starting to become well known, especially Cesaro. He later on got picked up by WWE, and later on, as we all know, Kevin Owens got picked up, where he wouldn't be having this match with Cesaro these last 2 days ago. But this match was definitely entertaining. A lot of good action occurred in this match. And, of course, Cesaro unfortunately lost the match, which I expected. I even said that in my predictions video. Cesaro was going to lose to Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens is red hot right now, despite the fact he didn't win the U.S. title from John Cena at this event, at Battleground last month. He's still highly popular in the minds of WWE fans. So that's pretty obvious they were going to go with Owens instead of Cesaro. Even though Cesaro's starting to pick up some popularity as well. But anyway, without me rambling on with this match forever, I definitely give this match a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Well performed, despite the fact the audience wasn't so highly into this, mainly because of the energy they were, throwing out. They were freaking going nuts over the WWE Championship match. They weren't crazy over the Divas match either. They were pretty quiet during that event as well. But this match, despite the fact the audience being dead on this one, I disagree. If they felt like they thought it was a crappy match, or if they were just tired, I don't know which. But if they thought it was a crappy match, they're nuts. It was a well done, well placed together type of match. And definitely really would like to see these two guys again in another one-on-one matchup. I think it's going to be pretty good, and this time they could really vamp it up a little bit more and make it even better than it was before. And then the main event, of course, Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. Man, oh man, these two guys beat the shit out of each other. Nobody walked away looking discredited. Nobody looked like some loser, in my mind. These two guys banged each other up to hell and back again. And straight back to hell again. It was just unbelievable how much of a beating these two guys gave to each other. I mean, they really looked like they were hurting each other, even though they were performing a show for everyone to watch, and it was a scripted match. This match was brutal. These guys authentically beat the living shit out of each other. And what do I mean authentic? They did beat the shit out of each other, even though it was set up for The Undertaker to win. And I'm very happy about that too. Despite the fact of how it ended, it still ended in a more logical, controversial ending. Think about it this way, guys. He goes ahead, he taps out while he's in the Kimura lock. The referee can't see his hand. The referee's the only one that can make the official call that the match is over. And the timekeeper saw that he was tapping out. Now, depending on the angle, the timekeeper... Now, that portion of the logic kind of questions what they were doing there. I don't know if the timekeeper could have seen that from where he was sitting, but maybe he could have. Maybe he saw his hand tapping or something like that. Who the hell knows? But the referee, just based on the referee's angle, that made all but the sense of a nice controversial ending. Now, do I want to see this match again? No. Not at WrestleMania, at least. If they're going to have this match again, it needs to happen at another pay-per-view. not a Night of Champions, but this this match needs to happen at a pay-per-view such as Hell in a Cell. These guys had a 5-star Hell in a Cell match back in 2002 at No Mercy, and my God, they destroyed each other. And this match could be no different, and it could amp it up a little bit. Make it a first ever mixed matchup where you go ahead, you have the Hell in a Cell fall on, over and around the ring, and be in a last man standing match. No countouts, no taps, no pinfalls, no nothing. You're in hell where one man stands and the other one is laid out for 10 seconds. That would be a fucking awesome, creative idea to end this storyline between these two guys. And who wins? Who gives a shit, really? Who cares who wins this match? Because, honestly, whoever does win, it's going to be great. And these guys really know how to put on a show together. But, overall, the pay-per-view, like I said, and this match was definitely a 4.5 out of 5 stars, mainly because the ending was a little bit kind of awkward. It gave you the impression that it was a Montreal screw job going on here, number one. Number two, they go ahead and have Undertaker give the low blow to Brock Lesnar, put him in a Hell's Gate. Brock Lesnar doesn't tap out. He gives him the middle finger, passes out, falls asleep, end of the match. And I think the referee even rang the bell before Brock Lesnar even fell asleep, to be honest with you. I don't know. But that's really the reason why it's a 4.5 out of 5 stars. But if the ending would have been just a tad changed, I definitely would give it 5 out of 5 stars. But show itself, I give it a 3.5 out of 5, mainly because after the first hour and 30 minutes, the show actually felt like a pay-per-view. But within that first hour and 30 minutes, it was like just a complete waste of fucking time overall. I just was not impressed with it. And once again, as I mentioned before earlier in this video, the only thing they had to do was just make it a 3-hour show. Condense it down. You don't have enough storyline build-up to make the show good enough for a 4-hour show. So just make it what it is. A 3-hour Summerslam event. That's all they had to do, and they would have had a great event. I would have been very satisfied with it. My rating on this would have been 4.5 out of 5 stars. I mean, from Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus the Wyatt family on down, it was a fun, entertaining, great pay-per-view to watch. I was very entertained by it. And definitely with that hour and 30 minutes, within the third hour, or the second hour, they had 30 minutes left over that was shit within that 3-hour period from 8 o'clock to 11 that they could have given to Kevin Owens and Cesaro and the Divas. I think they could have, used a little bit more time on their match, possibly. Maybe even the Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose match against the Wyatt family could have used that. I mean, from what I saw on Wikipedia just now, it was like 10 minutes. 10-minute match. It didn't feel like that. It felt like it was longer, but it wasn't, unfortunately. Whatever. But, again, like I said, all they needed to do is condense the show and make it 3 hours, and it would have been a great event. Another fantastic SummerSlam. I've been entertained by SummerSlam for many years, as well as the WrestleMania pay-per-views. There have been some SummerSlams that have absolutely sucked. 2010 was one of them. You guys, if you ever checked it out, go ahead. I reviewed it on the couple of SummerSlam pay-per-views leading into the pay-per-view this past week. So if you guys want to check that out, go ahead. I got 3 of them, so if you'd like to, go ahead and check them out. But anyway, at this time, leave your comments and opinions down below. I do apologize again to you guys for having this pay-per-view review done so late. I do realize it was quite late than other YouTube channels. Usually other YouTube channels do their stuff immediately after the pay-per-view. I like to just relax after the pay-per-view and just do it the next day and that's how I usually do it. But things got busy, like I said, and I wasn't able to do it, so I'm doing it today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tune in for the next episode, which is Monday Night Raw's review following after this video is uploaded. Okay, guys? Check you out. Check you in the next few minutes, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.